A lot of us just need somebody to listen to us. A lot of us just need somebody to help us do little things around our house. Or maybe somebody just needs to say, like, you're doing an awesome job.
Welcome to Parenting Village Unplugged, the show where we explore the journeys of parents, experts, and those passionate about making a difference in the world of parenting and family life. I'm your host, Clarinda, and today we have a very special guest who is dedicated to helping mums heal after birth trauma. Joining us is Brigid Tebaldi, a birth trauma recovery coach and the heart behind Loretto Wellness. Bridgid's mission is to support mothers who've had tough births, guiding them through emotional healing, helping them overcome fear about future pregnancies, and encouraging them to find peace through faith. In this episode, we'll dive into the emotional challenges that mums face after traumatic births, how Bridget's unique approach incorporates spiritual healing, and the steps to finding hope and peace on the journey to recovery. So let's just dive straight into it. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey, Bridget, and what inspired you to become a birth trauma recovery coach, and a little bit about your business with Loretto Wellness.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here. I am a mom of 5, and I went into my first pregnancy kind of like no idea what was happening. I pretty much just did what I was told to do. I was a good little girl, didn't really think much of it, and again, just did what I was told to do. Same thing happened with my second, where again, I just did what everybody was telling me to do, but in my heart, like I knew that I wanted something a little bit different, but I didn't know how to make that happen. And then after my second was born, about 5 hours later, I had a really bad hemorrhage. Not a uterine hemorrhage, I had a vaginal artery tear, and it was crazy, and it was just like rushed into emergency surgery and all the things. So after that experience, I really struggled with like postpartum rage, probably a bit of postpartum depression, and then just like feeling like I was all alone because I would Google stuff and it's like, oh, I don't have that. Like I don't need that help. And I just took me a long time to figure it out. And I finally did figure it out, and ever since then I've just been on this like really healing journey of myself, but also helping other women heal because again, our culture, our world does not set us up for success in motherhood. So I really just want to help women who've gone through really tough experiences to understand why that happened to them, and also to make them realize, or to help them realize, that it's actually a source of strength. Because they went through this, they're going to be so much stronger for it, and they're going to help not only other people, but like more importantly, they're going to help their like immediate family, they're going to help their children. They're going to just see this as a source of strength instead of this thing that's weighing them down.
I absolutely love that. And we go through these lived experiences and we either let us, I guess, control us, or we actually go out there and make a change and make a difference. And I love your vision and I love your mission to helping mums. And it really is true. Like the healthcare system and the world today, it doesn't really, as you said, set mothers up for success in parenthood, motherhood. And I really think it's people like us who want to make that change, want to make that difference. I think that's really going to change the way, I guess, mothers go into their journey moving forward. I had I would say, I guess, tough births with both of my children. I ended up having an emergency C-section with my first. I labored for 24 hours or more. And I was showing at the time I didn't know because I wasn't educated, but I was showing the signs of like my placenta actually rupturing, and my midwife had not picked up on this, and I was laboring for 24 hours, going through all of those signs. I don't want to go into too much of the gory details, but I was losing like a lot of blood. I was having contractions every 2 to 5 minutes from the start. So I was in a lot of pain. And yeah, it ultimately ended up in me having an emergency C-section. And I also went through an induction. So I was put on the drip to help I guess I wasn't dilated enough, as they say. So if I was a little bit informed back then, I probably definitely would have made different choices. And I also would have known what my body was telling me and what my body was going through as well. And I wouldn't have had, I guess, that guilt about not having the birth that I thought I was going to have. And my second birth was very different. So he was started having contractions and he was here within 3 hours. So it was really, really quick. But I actually had an episiostomy and I did not consent to it. And I didn't know that they were doing it. And it didn't heal properly. So I had that trauma on top of that as well. It was really, really tough. But now that I've gone through, I guess, all of this education and knowing my choices and being a little bit informed, I know if and when I do have my third baby is going to be very, very, very different moving forward. So yeah, I love your vision. I love your mission. I think this goes into our next question. So what are what are some of the most common challenges that mums face, I guess, after, I don't want to say a difficult birth, but like a birth that may not have gone there, like how they desired, or birth trauma, and how do you support them through those challenges?
Yeah, so thank you for sharing your experiences first off. I have so many thoughts, but I'll refrain from saying them for a later time. So yeah, the way that I help kind of reframe things is like I always say like we're not going to change the story, but we reframe it in a way that allows you to see the good in it or that allows you to see like where things went well. But the biggest, I would say, emotions or thoughts that I help with are definitely that feeling of guilt, where a lot of women are like, why didn't I do more research? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Why didn't I do whatever? Right? So there's a lot of this feeling of guilt again of just, why didn't I do this? The other big one that I see is what if? So a lot of women think, well, what if I had done this? Or what if I hadn't done that? And this extends more, even not even just the birth, but also pregnancy. It extends like before pregnancy, pretty much any time. So just whenever they have those thoughts of what if, again, we try to go back and like put yourself back where you were in that situation. And in that time, in that situation, you were doing the best that you possibly could with the knowledge that you had. And you can't do anything better than that. Like it's hindsight, like that phrase hindsight's 2020. It's totally true because it's so easy to be like, "Oh, I should have done that." But in the moment, you're doing the best that you can. So it's just really trying to get to the root of like, I did do the best that I could. And like just believing that. And then I help them do a lot of like body work exercises and breathing exercises to kind of get that in their body so that they can feel that. Like that they really feel that they did the best that they could. Even if it wasn't what they wanted, like they did the best that they could. And if you can help your brain like transmit that message to your body, then it really helps with that trauma response and it helps dissipate it. So again, you start to know that you did the best that you could. It might not have been what you wanted, but you did what you could. And then just moving forward, we get a plan. So like in your case, if you're going to have another child, we get a plan in place so that things do go the way that you want them to go. Obviously it's birth, so nothing happens the way that it's supposed to, like the way that you think it's going to happen all the time. But we at least make that plan and we have contingency plans and contingency plans so that we can at least be a little bit more like in the know of what's happening.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that you have your little one with you as well. I'd love for you to touch a little bit on, so you emphasize on helping mums, I guess, stop fearing like future pregnancies. How do you guide them to overcome this fear?
Yes, so the biggest thing that we always start with is I ask them a simple question. And this question is something that I thought about whenever, like many kids ago. So I always ask them, what do you want we're in the United States, so I'm going to use the States. What do you want your Thanksgiving dinner table to look like in 20 years? And usually whenever they ponder that, they want like a big table, lots of family around it, that sort of thing. Not everybody, but a lot of them do. And then from there we get into it and it's like, so if you want that, how do we get that? And for a lot of women, it's like they want biological children. Sometimes it is like they want to foster children. And so we just get into their goals of like, well, what is it that you want? And then we always keep that main goal in sight where it's like, I want to feel this and where I want this type of experience in 20 years. And then from there we work backwards. So we never start like, well, I want this kid right now. But it's more of, again, what do you want your life to look like later on? because it just paints this like more beautiful picture, and it helps our brains to be like, oh, this is possible. It's like that when you make like a vision board, it just helps your brain again get into that like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then just as far as like the more granular like here and now, it just goes back to that idea of like making plans, doing research, educating yourself, figuring out what you're comfortable with. So if it is that you want another biological child, great, awesome. Let's figure out how to make that happen in terms of the way that you want it to happen, like the birth. So if you had a hospital birth before or like an in-system birth and you're like, I really don't want that again, great, let's figure out how you can make this home birth with an independent midwife work. Or if you like really feel like a vaginal birth is too much for you and like you actually just want that scheduled C-section, I've worked with women who do that. And that's what makes them feel comfortable in that moment. And that's going to be way more important than reliving the trauma of attempting another vaginal birth if your brain is like, it goes straight into like, I'm going to die mode. And so again, it's just figuring out what is it that you want your life to look like in 20 years and how do we make that happen. So by working backwards to figuring out what it looks like for now.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's such a beautiful question to ask. Like, I guess if in Australia we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but even just asking the question, like, what do you want your Christmas to look like? And for me, like, I've always had a big family. We've always had so many children, like, and the joy of like opening Christmas presents and would leave the wrapping, on the floor and all the children would hide underneath it and then they'll jump out. Like, it's a good way of like picturing how you want. Yeah, I really do love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that analogy with clients that I work with as well. So having that big goal and working your way backwards. So like baby steps to help achieve that bigger goal that you're wanting to achieve. Because sometimes if you don't have those little baby steps like implemented, you might set yourself up for failure. So, and having I guess a guide and a plan in place definitely makes it a lot more achievable. And yeah, I love that analogy of working backwards and little baby steps to get there. We even do that in regards to whether like mums want to breastfeed, for example. So working through the baby steps on how to achieve that, or if they want to have a home birth, for example, like how to like exactly what you do. Even like it might be a small goal, like for mums who struggle getting out of the house. So how can we work on baby little steps to get to that bigger goal? And that might even look like putting your shoes on and going to walk out the front door. That might be the first step. And you might not do it the first time, but just the little steps to help you get there. I really do. I love that. I know that your approach incorporates faith and in trusting in God's plan. And I'd like to know, like, how does this spiritual perspective, I guess, help with mums with the healing process if they have had birth trauma, and also, I guess, guiding them through their pregnancy and through their birth.
Yeah, so this is super important because there are really great resources out there for healing like from a birth trauma or anything like that. Anything in like the birth world. There's already a lot of great resources. However, what I found, especially whenever I was looking into a home birth for the first time, is that a lot of those resources, again, like they're sound and everything, but they just didn't feel aligned with my own faith. And for whatever reason, the talk of using like crystals and portals and all of that sort of thing just made me really uncomfortable. So I was like, well, if I'm feeling like this, there's got to be other women who feel like this too. And we want like the great birth side of things that those organizations or companies have, but we don't necessarily want like the like new agey type component that goes around them. So, starting this, I really blended the birth education that I have and then the faith education that I have and like experience for both of those things. And I think that they obviously blend really well because God created everything, so he's going to create birth in such a and birth, motherhood, womanhood in such a beautiful way. So I think by really understanding God's design, both like from a more physiological and a philosophical way, it really helps to bring out the beauty of it, and then it helps to bring out this confidence and this like feminine energy that we have that just really allows us to step into that and be like, I was literally made to do this. So therefore, with the right support, with the right education, like I can do this. So it's just really bridging the gap between like how we were made and like what God wants for us, and it's just this mental shift that has to occur so that we can see all that God wants for us is already here. We just have to figure out a way to step over our own insecurities and again what our culture tells us to get to where he wants us to be.
Yeah, it's really stepping into that feminine, that empowerment, that strength, that womanhood. And yeah, exactly what you said. Like our bodies are literally designed to do this. And 100%, like God wouldn't set us up for failure in, I guess, in this process. So just got to entrust yourself, trust your body, and know that this is exactly what you are made for. I'd really like to dive into what do you find is often misunderstood about birth trauma and its emotional impact on mothers.
Yes. So this is a big topic because there's a lot of different facets to it. So there's a lot of shame around trauma, like birth trauma, because if you have negative feelings about your birth, then therefore that means that you don't love your baby, which is ridiculous. But that's what our brains go to. And there's also a lot of shame and like not necessarily talking about postpartum depression. Postpartum rage is a huge one that I talk to with clients about where they are like, I'm a terrible mom because I like can't help but scream at my kids sometimes. Or like I just put the kid down and like have to go outside and yell or something because I'm just so angry and I don't know why I'm so angry. So there's just a lot of shame around all of that. So it's just not talked about. Where it's just that idea again of like if you need to talk to somebody about what happened in your birth and it's like and you hated it and you're like why did this have to happen to me, then it puts this pressure on ourselves. We put this pressure on ourselves that this means that we're a bad mom or that we don't love our baby or that we're not grateful that we have a live baby, right? So that's a big one too, is like, oh, just be grateful that you have a healthy live baby. And it's like, no, we are made to have a better experience than just to have a healthy live baby. Obviously, that's the end goal that we all want. But there's so much more to it. And if we don't acknowledge that there's more to it, then we're just going to keep setting ourselves up for failure. There's a physiological process that happens during birth that really allows mother and baby to connect in this like such a beautiful way and forever changes especially the maternal brain. And if we just say like, oh, it's good enough, your baby's fine, then that like is totally negating this beautiful process. And it's not just the birth that's also like this. It's also the postpartum period, but also breastfeeding as well is such an integral part of this beautiful cascade of hormones and like relationship building and everything like that. And again, by just not talking about it, by not being allowed to tell somebody a good, even by not being allowed to tell somebody a good experience, because so many people are afraid to say good experiences because they don't want to make other people feel bad. So there's just a lot of this, and we can't talk about this because we might make people feel bad, or just be grateful that you have a live baby. Oh, it wasn't really that bad. Like, all of those different thoughts and feelings can really come up. And it's not fair to the woman, it's not fair to the baby, it's not fair to the father to not have those feelings validated and heard, have those experiences validated and heard, like with your own experience of like maybe things happening to you that you didn't even realize were happening to you. Like that's not okay. And by just continuing to just say like, oh, but your baby's fine, everything's fine. It's just setting us up for really forgetting the beauty of the whole process of pregnancy, birth, and that postpartum time.
Validation is so important. I heard these exact things with my experiences, my birth experiences. I was told for a long period of time, you're healthy, your baby's healthy, you both are alive, that's all that matters. And deep down, I was like, no, like that's not all that matters. Like, I really didn't feel like my feelings were validated. And also through my breastfeeding, like my breastfeeding journey as well, I was told to hide up, cover up, even in my own home from family members, and told to like go feed in the car. And it really is taking away the beauty and what we are designed to do. And I absolutely changed that with my second. I was like, no, like I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with feeding wherever I want to feed, being open and just enjoying these moments with my baby and not letting anyone take that away from me. And I really used my voice with my second baby. Um, and yeah, there is too much shame on women and mothers and the choices that they make in motherhood. And you're right, it's not spoken about enough. And I really think that is the problem, that it's not spoken about enough. So we're normalizing that, it's not okay to speak about your birth trauma. It's not okay to breastfeed in public. It's not okay. There's lots of things going in my mind, but yeah, there is a lot of mum shaming out there, and we really do need to just find our voice again as mums. I think that is really, really, really important. Yeah. What advice would you give to a mum who is struggling with feelings of self blame after, I guess, after birth trauma, a difficult birth, or any time throughout motherhood? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I would definitely give them the advice, and this is a blanket advice, so I'm gonna narrow it down a little bit. But the big thing is that again, you're doing the best you can with what you have, like with the resources you have available to you. So this is where I sort of challenge the mainstream like mental health diagnoses with, and there are certainly times when this isn't applicable, but a lot of times whenever I talk to somebody post who has been diagnosed with postpartum depression, a lot of times I will ask them like, or I'll just say like, tell me about your family life, tell me about your day-to-day life. 99% of the time they are so overwhelmed with everything that they have to do. They just had this new baby that especially if it's their first, they have no idea what's happening. Their body's still all out of whack. They somehow have to get all the dishes done, the laundry cleaned, the food made. If it's nice out, they have to do yard work. If they have other kids, then they have to deal with the other kids. If they homeschool, they have to homeschool. If they have to work, then they have to work. There's so many things that we have to do nowadays. And again, this is where I challenge it, where it's like, maybe it's not that your brain isn't doing something right. Maybe it's your body and your brain screaming that you need help with your day-to-day life. So instead of just doing like the normal talk therapy and maybe medication, maybe we should look at, what does your life look like? Like, where can you get extra help around your life so that you can go sit and nurse the baby without worrying about what the 2-year-old and 4-year-old are doing outside or like running around in the living room. Or maybe it is that you can get help with doing the laundry or cleaning your house so that you can go take a nap. So it's just shifting this idea of what it is that we're supposed to do every day, and like all of these crazy tasks that we put on ourselves, and not saying that we be lazy or anything like that, but more of just like giving ourselves the grace and realizing that we weren't supposed to live the way that we're living today. Like, we're supposed to live with this big community around us helping us. We're not supposed to have massive houses that we have to take care of. We're not supposed to have massive wardrobes that we have to wash and like figure out where things go. So we're not living in the way that people used to live, where they had extra support. And again, I'm doing a blanket statement. There are obviously people who really do need like mental help. But maybe a lot of us just need help. A lot of us just need somebody to listen to us. A lot of us just need somebody to help us do little things around our house. Or maybe somebody just needs to say, like, you're doing an awesome job. Like, don't worry about the laundry. It can stay dirty. Or it can stay, if it's like my house, it'll be clean, but like I can never seem to fold it. So maybe that's just what we have to do, is we have to really be more gentle with ourselves, and just knowing that we're doing the best that we can do. And if you are having any sort of like it's like self-blame, like I shouldn't have done that, or I did this really terribly. Just remember that there is a literal biological reason why you do something whenever you're pregnant or whenever you're giving birth. It's called fawning. It's a literal biological response. It's made to keep you safe. So just like I'll give a cat for example. A cat goes into labor. What does a cat do? Does it stay in the middle of the yard and have kittens in the middle of the yard? No. It goes somewhere where it feels safe, where it's dark, quiet, again, calm, it feels safe to have those kittens. If a bear comes up and tries to get the cat while it's in labor, the cat's going to fight to the best of its ability. However, if the cat is like literally ready to push the kittens out, it can't fight. It just has to do what it can to protect its kittens. And that's all that we do in birth as well, is we go into fawning, and that's why it's so important to surround ourselves in birth with people that we trust and people that we know will have our best intentions in mind. Not to say that not everybody does, but you know what I mean. Like, picking a good care team is so vital. Because whenever you do go into that fawning stage, you really want to make sure that you're being surrounded by people who know your desires, who know your wants, who understand physiological birth if that's the way that you're going. And we'll just be there to support you so that you don't feel like you have to fight. Because that's not your purpose during labor. Your purpose is to protect your baby, and by saying like, okay, do whatever you need to do to me, that's protecting your baby. And that's a good thing. That's what we're made to do. So again, I would just say be gentle with yourself. And if you're having another baby next time around, just surround yourself with people who really get it and will support you.
Yeah, we really do put so much pressure on ourselves as mums sometimes. And the mental load can be so like overbearing. And I really do think it's so important really bringing it back to basics, especially in those first few weeks when you have that when you have a newborn. It's just taking care of your body, allowing yourself to heal, and not being afraid to ask for help. We don't it's really disheartening to say this out loud, but we don't have the village like they used to back in the day. We don't have that support, that community, that village. But there is support systems out there, there's networks out there, there's people out there that really truly want to nurture you and help you through this period. I found having a doula the second time round was the best thing that I could have ever done for my postpartum period. I didn't have to worry about cleaning, cooking, laundry for like the first few months. Like everything was honestly done for me, and it was so life-changing in how I healed my emotions. I was just able to be in that bubble and just heal and care for my baby, breastfeed, and just worry about like basics. I was able to take the time to go have a shower while my husband or my doula watched the baby. Like, it's really stripping back to the basics and not being afraid to ask for help and seeing where those gaps can be filled. So you might not have family around, but there might be other support systems around you, even community help, neighbors, friends, that you can ask for help. We have a thing called meal trains in Australia, and it's a website where you can select what day you're going to provide a meal for the family. So having a meal train set up, having someone come do your laundry once a week, someone come to do the cleaning once a week, and don't feel guilty for asking for help in those basic necessities, because it can really, I guess, I don't want to say eliminate, but I truly think that it can decrease the onset of postnatal depression, rage, all of those feelings, all of those emotions, just by having those basic um, necessities set up. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing to
Is there
add with
anything
that
else?
too is I know personally I struggle with I don't want to pay somebody to clean my house. I can clean my house, right? Or like I don't want to pay somebody to I don't know, do whatever. And you have to almost think of it in a different way where it's like, yeah, you can do it, but what's it costing you to do it? Like for you to do it versus what is it costing you to just pay somebody else to do it? So it's costing you your time, which you can't make more of, especially in those early days with your like little ones. So is it better for you to spend I don't even know how much it is to clean a house. I'll just say $100. Is it better for you to give somebody $100 to clean your house so that you can sit and relax and watch your little kids play while you snuggle with a new baby? Is it like $100 worth it to you? Or would you rather spend 4 hours cleaning your house with a new baby and like little kids around you? So it's just a different way of thinking where it's like, what's worth it to you? To have that money, and like some things you should do yourself, but some things you can definitely delegate, even if it does mean giving up money in order to make that happen.
Um, it's really coming down to like what's a priority as well. And obviously like for me, like having a clean home is amazing. Like I feel more at ease, I feel more calm. And I would gladly pay someone to clean my house for me instead of having to do it myself, especially in those like early days when you're adjusting to motherhood and you're probably in the trenches trying to figure it all out. And yeah, just don't be so hard on yourself as a mum. Like that's probably my biggest advice to women out there. Don't be hard on yourself. And yeah, time is so precious. It's so precious. It's definitely something we don't get back. Yeah. Is there anything else you think that we've missed or that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, I am just I'm really big on intuition. So just trusting your intuition. And because I do work with Christian women, I always say your intuition is the Holy Spirit guiding you. And it really is true because it's like whatever your intuition is telling you, like trust it. And if you're like, I don't know what my intuition tells me, I don't know what my gut says, then maybe do some reflecting on that and be like, why can't I discern what my gut reaction is? Or like, why can't I figure out what I feel in my body about this person or this situation? Because you'll probably do some hard work and figure out that there's something that happened or some belief that somebody told you that's really preventing you from trusting yourself. And ultimately, if you don't trust yourself as a mother, things are going to be really hard because you're always going to be looking for somebody else to tell you what to do, or you're going to be accepting advice when you're like, I don't know if I like what advice do I accept? Everybody's telling me different things. So again, I would just really say to trust your gut. If you don't know what your gut says, do some work to figure out what it says, and then just go with whatever your intuition is telling you to do as a mother, because ultimately that's going to give you the most peace and again help you to really trust yourself and build that self-trust and confidence.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. How can our listeners best connect with you moving forward?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. It's just at Loretto Wellness. And Loretto is Loreto Wellness. And then I also have a website, lorettowellness.com, but I'm on Instagram more than anything else. So if you have any questions or want to DM me, please feel free to. And yeah, I'd just love to chat with anybody.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was so much value shared, and I loved your experiences that you shared in there as well. And if you liked today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your family and friends. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you.